Occupy, says Noam Chomsky, is the first major public response to 30 years of class war. A people-powered movement that began in New York City on September 17, 2011, and rapidly spread to thousands of locations worldwide. Although most of the original sites have been raided by police by early 2012, the movement had already transitioned from occupying tent camps to occupying the national conscience. In his talks, Chomsky points out that one of the movement's greatest successes has been simply to put the inequalities of everyday life on the national agenda, influencing reporting, public perception, and language itself. Referencing a January 2012 Pew Research Center report on public perceptions of class conflict within the United States, Chomsky notes that inequalities in the country have risen to historically unprecedented heights. The Pew study finds that about 2/3 of the U.S. population now believes there are very strong or strong conflicts between the rich and the poor, an increase of 19 percentage points since 2009. By early 2012, it had also become cliché to say that Occupy has changed the national conversation. It has done that, and it is important to acknowledge all the people who camped out, marched, or went to jail to help make it happen. More than 6,705 people in 112 U.S. cities have been arrested as of this writing. It is now commonplace to see not only increased coverage of the problems of income disparity, but also to regularly see newspaper articles with headlines that reflect the language of the movement. For example, on February 15, 2012, the New York Times published an article with the title, "Why Obama Will Embrace the 99%. Making headlines is not the movement's goal, but the word choice indicates that the narrative can be changed, and altering the narrative is a necessary victory towards transforming everything else. The plight of those without resources, those without a voice, those without access to power traditionally ignored, has now become the focus of greater national attention and widespread indignation. Their stories are being told, and anyone who can read and understand cannot help but deplore the cruelties endured by millions of people in an economy that for decades has been shaped and coded to serve the rich." Another recent example, the New York Times recently published a front-page story about an elderly couple in Dixfield, Maine, who had fallen behind on paying their heating bills. When, during the dead of winter, their back debt hit around $700, the oil company cut them off, knowing that doing so might literally kill 2 people. The oil man said he agonized over his decision, and when he got off the phone with the couple, he thought to himself, "Are these people going to be found frozen?" In the same issue, just a few pages later, appeared a column discussing multimillionaire Mitt Romney's statement that he was not concerned about the very poor because there is a safety net for them. The writer responds to Romney's assurance with these words, "Where to begin? First, a report from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities last month pointed out that Romney's budget proposals would take a chainsaw to that safety net. How did we in the United States get to this point? It's not third world misery," says Chomsky, "but it's not what it ought to be in a rich society, the richest in the world. In fact, with plenty of wealth around, which people can see, just not in their pockets." And Chomsky credits Occupy for helping to bring these issues to the fore. You can say that it's now almost a standard framework of discussion. Even the terminology is accepted. That's a big shift.